2, 1.
1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the I'll Try That podcast. It's been a little while since we've all had a nice sit down and a chat about what's happening in the brewing world.
It's a welcome back
Matthew,
to us as well, isn't it?
It is a bit of a welcome back to us. We've been out for a few weeks. I think it was just important for us all to get three of us in a virtual room and a space together, and this is the first time we've been able to do it because of all our busy lives. What have you been up to, Matt?
Well, a few things. All sorts has happened since then. You know, I've returned from... I thought I was going to get called up to the England squad at the last minute for the Euros. That didn't quite pan out. There's massive geopolitical shifts and schisms since we've last recorded. There's again, that's the one for another podcast, isn't it? I also recently brought an amazing pair of trousers. So
that I want to know more about.
That's my, just like they're a little bit out there for what I would normally go for, but I saw them.
Nice.
They were heavily reduced, and I thought these are basically they're like cream coloured, and I've got a wedding to go to in August, and I thought could be warm. It could be a really nice, snazzy pair of trousers.
Love that. Heavy, reduced trouser situation.
They are. I mean, these are heavy. We say heavy. These are double cream trousers. I need a snazzy espadrille situation on the feet. I think maybe a woven belt.
You need woven.
Top half, I don't know.
Linen.
Maybe
linen. It has to be linen.
Yeah, but possibly only the bottom two shirts done up, two shirt buttons done up, and a heavy gold chain.
I like a deep V, but that's a deep V if it's the only bottom two.
I might be exaggerating there. Deep V's were really popular 7 or 8 years ago, weren't they? And I feel like they've died a little bit now. If I'm going to do that, I might need to get the biro out and draw on some more chest hair.
I can shave some of mine off and mail it to you if you want, mate. I'm plentiful. This is.
Thank God you offered before I asked, because I definitely think about that.
I'd almost feel like you shouldn't have even said anything and just did it, because that would have been a nice surprise coming in the post.
Yeah.
Or you might like some hair. How did he know?
Nice.
That's my time out in a summary. Yeah.
I like that.
Changing landscape of the world.
I was going to say my time out has been. I've currently going through a very first world problem. Is I've organised too many nice things in the month of July. Yes. Which is
terrible. That have you got enough caramelised onion
we actually
chutney
had to buy an extra jar when we were in a shepherd's hut out just on the outside of Ilfracombe. It's just a real first world problem. Too many nice things to go and do, but I've booked them all in a very 30-day window. So I've just been a very busy boy.
Doesn't your heart bleed?
Well, I feel like for mine, I've really hit the kind of like getting into middle-aged jackpots. I've been putting some decking in the garden. I've had some men over to do the loft, and I've been then putting.
So glad that took that direction.
To sort the loft out, so it's now a usable storage space. So we've been very giddy and excited about actually having loft storage. So that feels like I've hit a certain point of my life where I get.
I
like that.
Real,
well, the thing, Joe, I was at yours at the end of last month, and I do actually have to comment on your decking was pretty well made. Now I felt secure enough to sit on it.
Thank
so
you.
That's that's it.
I built it with you in mind.
I need a fairly robust surface if I'm going to be sitting down.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the oldest one in the world. I was in B&Q the other day, and this bloke asked if I wanted decking, but I managed to get the first punch in, and it was all right in the end. But I'm sorry.
Maybe you can pull us all back to reality, Barbara, with a nice segue into what's our.
Oh yeah.
Have we even done a
setup?
setup? Did I do the setup about what we're talking about today?
We didn't. Do you want to talk about? Do you want to tell
apologies, everyone.
The
listeners will be
talking about
loving
later?
the ramble that we've got on a bit of a catch up, but probably but what are we actually talking about today? I hear you all ask. So we are travelling to the Isle of Bute. Who can name where the Isle of Bute is?
Scotland way.
I don't know.
That's it. It's definitely Scotland way. It's just off the coast of, kind of if you go across from Glasgow. Basically, you go up around it. It's a little nice island there. We are going to talk all about the Isle of Bute distillery, who also make beer. Because I was very lucky enough to, my father-in-law, Stephen, thank you very much, Stephen, brought me back some beers when he was up there very recently. So we'll talk about that. But, Barbara, I think we're staying in Scotland for the hot topic, aren't we?
Indeed, and fast becoming fast friends of the I'll Try That podcast. We're very lucky to see. I got a horrible feeling at some point Stuart Brewing are just going to issue us with a bill for some beer they've been sending us. Our dear friends at Stuart Brewing, you remember we interviewed Nathan Vickers way back when, head brewer the sort of pilot brewery at Stuart, the Project 7 series, of which I think you all remember we're all very fond of the White Affogato. I've had a couple of other beers from them since as well. But we've got a few more to try. I am currently also having a little taste of Stuart's AF, which is the alcohol-free pale ale. We're also gladly in receipt of Ruby, which is a Ruby Radler. And Rich, I think you are getting your laughing gear around...
Raspberry porridge and honey oat pale ale, which is their Stuart Brewing, and their collaboration with Stoats, which is kind of like a OT based bar company. Which, once again, when you hear the name, it's classic Scotland. And once when you hear the name and that it's an oat bar company that they're collaborating with, you feel it shouldn't work. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, so this is the thing with these guys. They're fantastic stuff they're doing at the Pilot Brewing, because this, to your point, guys, when you read what this beer is, you go, oh, I don't know about that, and yet you drink it and you're going, oh, this is delicious. It's like the White Affogato. That thing, I have no idea how they got it to taste so good, because it sounds not very good. But it's amazing, isn't it?
No, I was just saying, as I said, it just really annoys me because I read raspberry porridge. Yeah, I like the sound of raspberry porridge and honey. Yeah, but then in a pale ale, it just I go, well, this sounds like it's going to be horrifically sweet, and I'm not going to enjoy it whatsoever. But then I took a sip, then I took another sip, and I'm like, I'm just annoyed that it works. Like, who's collabing with in essence a cereal bar? They're collabed with a cereal bar, and it works, and it's really tasty.
Well, this is what got me. I think we did have before, didn't we? The oatmeal IPA, which was maybe the first of these collabs, I think. And I was thinking, oatmeal, you're having a laugh, aren't you? And actually, when I was saying to you, Rich, it was less that I'd really forgotten those ingredients, but more it was more disbelief than anything else. But the oatmeal IPA, I remember, was an IPA still. I'm yet to try
porridge,
the
raspberry porridge and honey oat pale
jam, porridge. Yeah, so. I approach with some trepidation, but the oatmeal IPA for me was a good warm up to that. So I am prepared to give it a go. But again, so much of what we've had from Stuart so far has been a hit, hasn't it? So are you feeling
I'm just really enjoying it again. And this,
I like it,
and I think this just cements
really
that
good.
everything they've sent us and everything we've tried has been absolutely fantastic. And I think we need to go and visit them. I think we need to go up there. I think next year we should make a promise to ourselves that as a trio we go and visit Stuart Brewing in Edinburgh.
All right.
Yeah. I think we could do a whole tour up there, couldn't we? We could get to West as well up there. We could go and see our friends.
We need to do more beer travelling.
A lot up there. So the other ones that I've also had from this series, the Ruby Rhubarb Radler.
I did, yeah.
Do you guys have that one as well?
I again have but yet to taste, and I think you were making some quite positive noises about it, weren't you?
You are in for a treat, Barbara, when you get going on that one. That is a breath of fresh air, because obviously we're all quite familiar with Radlers, and we've got an upcoming episode where we'll talk, given it's the summer, there's some Radlers out and about. We're going to talk some Radler beers, but that was refreshing in that it was done exactly as it says on the tin. It's what you want to drink in a hot summer's day, but because it's got like a rhubarb, it's rhubarb based rather than like lemon or something else that you normally get at Radler's. It was really interesting. I'd never had anything like it basically, and I really enjoyed it.
I think a rhubarb is quite like is what's an admirable ingredient maybe. Like I think of ruddy faced children playing in the sun when I think of rhubarb, and like it's like quite hearty, and it makes me think of lovely bucolic countryside. I always find that word a bit confusing because bucolic sounds like some sort of plague, but I assume But it makes me think of green, pleasant lands, rolling hills, rhubarb in the summer, and like Radler always tends to be something you have at the end of a bike ride. I am again. Someone said rhubarb beer because I think historically I've just not been a rhubarb fan, but now that I'm getting older and my palate is maturing. That is one I am now looking forward to. So I'm glad.
Well, that's it. I was going to say I tried it when they sent it through, and they sent us a couple of cans, and I wish I had some more now because I drank it far too quickly. Same with just all of the stuff. I was sitting there and then I had the one. I was like, I've just got to have the other. And then Becca, my partner, was sitting next to me and she was like, Can I have one? I was like, fine. You. Then I realised I drunk them all and I felt really bad. I was like, oh God, this is good. Rhubarb Radler.
Let me get that rhubarb Radler. Because it's like, was it rhubarb and custard? That's what I was thinking of, and I was mixing that up with dandelion and burdock, which I've never had in my life. But these are the sort of things that and like stuff out of an Enid Blyton book.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine the famous five when they were a bit older would be drinking a rhubarb Radler.
Although, yeah, having moved on from, I always had in my head it was quote lashings of ginger beer.
Yeah,
I do like ginger beer.
That's also a great word.
Lashings. Yeah. So there you go. That's some nice newness, nice freshness at Stuart Brewing. So is it time we do take that small jaunt over to the Isle of Bute?
We should absolutely go to the Isle of Bute. So, what do we know about the Isle of Bute apart from knowing it's Scotland's way? I think Travers rightly so said. And has anyone got anything about the Isle of Bute?
Famously accessible by boat.
Nice.
I can imagine.
Okay.
Distiller.
I was going to say, I can imagine there's some folklore off the Isle of Bute that I'm just. Apparently, witches.
Okay.
There's a distillery there, as we mentioned.
Witches
right?
once came to notoriety in Bute through the witch trials, in which 6 women were found to have consorted with fairy folk. To this day, there are rumours of witches and fairies entrapping the unwary traveller on the Isle of Bute.
The witch trails were actually in the New Forest because they got big into BMX at one point, didn't they? and mountain biking and that sort of thing. BMX didn't quite work, but you get the general idea. You mentioned Joe.
I've got a couple of other facts that I was going to tote you with, and if I'm honest, I was this list of 10 facts about the Isle of Bute pretty underwhelming.
I wanted to say, remote was kind of my perception of Bute.
I'll give you the best ones, right? The origins of the name Bute are a bit uncertain, with claims it is derived from fire, beacon fire, and Victory Isle. Okay, makes sense with this position. The Bute Festival of Cycling is one of the oldest cycling events in Scotland, starting before World War II. Okay. And the Maids of Bute are 2 painted standing stones on the northern tip of the island.
Okay.
Ooh.
So
let's book a ticket now. Sorry, I don't agree.
Why go to the Isle of Bute? I think so it's beautiful.
So I googled famous people from the Isle of Bute. No one.
There wasn't even anyone that they would like just go, okay, this is our famous person because he once bought a hat or something like that. They just went, no.
Well, that's it.
Or they were like an extra in a film, in a TV series that didn't really do very well. You know, like that. I like it when towns and villages claim
they've got Lord Richard Attenborough.
That's brilliant.
Not related to the Attenborough, but just
some guy
hang on, wait. Hang on, sorry, Lord Richard Attenborough.
Lord
or Richard Attenborough, because I had this conversation with someone. Because I had this conversation with someone the other day that didn't realise Richard Attenborough
tell you
and
what.
David Attenborough were brothers.
You know what? Wait. I take
know,
this
I know.
back about Bute. They do have somebody famous. Once again,
They've got someone who
No.
once bought Bruce Forsyth's old VW
so
Polo.
Lord Richard Attenborough directed the movie Gandhi, which won 8 Oscars.
Is that the Richard Attenborough who was in...
He was in Jurassic
Great
Park
Escape?
and Miracle on
Jurassic
34th
Park?
Street. So, I'm sorry.
So the class...
Yeah,
Is that
really...
Dickie
That is a
Attenborough
pretty
from the
famous
other-
I
person.
take it back. I'm
Why
really
is-
sorry, Bute. I read into it more. Butte has one famous person.
Why is Dickie Attenborough from Isle of Bute and David Attenborough isn't? That sounds like a setup for a joke.
That's
If
for
either of you
another
know the
that's
punchline.
another podcast talking about family dynamics, famous families.
Oh, I could just see him with the cane walking out from the car. Welcome to the Isle of Bute.
Yeah,
We built a distillery. You crazy son of a bitch, you did it.
just some sheep in the distance. Yeah.
Roaming around and everyone's just gawping like.
Well, if nothing else, I've learned that Richard Attenborough was from the island
Yeah.
of Bute. I didn't know he was a lord either. I thought that there was just a lord.
Lord
with
Richard
the same
Attenborough.
name. Crumbs.
So yeah,
But the Isle of Bute is home to a very fast growing distillery called the Isle of Bute Distillery. It started in only
Spared
2019.
no expense.
Sorry, 2018. Yeah,
It's going to
sorry.
be just full of Jurassic Park references now, sorry.
What's that thing? He's like, see, guys, nobody cares. Nobody cares. What's that other scene from?
sorry, Joe. Go on about the Bute Distillery.
So, started in 2018. It's not that long ago. Started as a distillery. They still make distillery-based products. I'll talk about a couple of those in a second. I will break the cardinal rule of this podcast and talk about something that isn't beer for a second, because there is something that's noteworthy in their
okay.
spirit portfolio that I need to talk to you guys about. But they have, off the back of this, brewed some beer. I have had the Bute Brew Co. Spindrift Lager, the Flagship IPA, and I'm currently tucking into
Ooh.
their Bananalaga.
Has
Can
it
you
got
guess
bananas
what the
in?
Bananalaga is all about? It's
You went for the obvious option there.
it's lagers and bananas. You're right, guys. It's lagers and bananas. Combination. You
I was
never knew
gonna
it's
say,
needed.
is it-
It's
is
Try
it
it
Down
and
the
rejoice.
stairs.
It is.
I'm full
Is
of
it
the
the
pop
adult
culture
version
references
of
at the moment?
bananas in pajamas?
Yeah. Well, because we had that banana bread. I forgot which brewery
Eagle.
did that one. Eagle Brewery, thank you. That was delicious.
Yeah.
That was like a banana bread ale, wasn't it? But this, as a lager, interesting. So you do get, when you smell it from the opening the can, a kind of a banana waft. It's what you just imagine. It's almost that kind of slightly sweeter, artificial banana-y smell.
Yeah.
You know when you open those like
Pear drops.
sweets, this pack of sweets that are banana sugary things. It's like that smell when you open the packet. And yeah, I mean, definitely as you taste it, there is a banana-ness to this lager. So yeah, pretty interesting to say the least. I'm not saying I'm fully think I'm now a banana lager convert and this is what I will now be consuming for life, but I've actually enjoyed all of the beers that the Bute Brew Co have come up with. Their Spindrift lager was a bit okay. Their Flagship IPA was pretty tasty. I quite enjoyed that one, but again, I normally lean a bit more towards the IPAs anyway. And this banana lager is a nice kind of like.
I was just on their
I suppose.
webpage, and I was quite enjoying the can design for each of the ones. I think they're
Yes.
they're
Thank you for
really
praising
great.
the can
They are
design.
just
They're so good.
they're
aren't they?
relatively simple, in all honesty, with what they've got going on there. But it's just bold, to the point, and I'm enjoying all the little graphics they've got on each of their cans.
Have you checked out yet? So we're going to go off beer for a second. Have
I've
you
seen they've
checked
got a
out any of
rum
their other
and they
products?
have a whiskey. I like.
Yes. Yeah. I want to draw your attention to one that I think you all might enjoy. An
Oh.
oyster gin.
Was that the bottle you showed me?
Oyster
Wasn't it?
gin.
Oyster gin.
Yeah.
Yes. I have not been brave enough to open this yet, but this is a gin that they charge their stills with the shells of wild Scottish oysters to add a delicate maritime essence. Blend it with citrus, botanicals, create a savoury gin, which is perfectly paired with seafood and the base for a martini. So yeah, I definitely need to try this with some sort of seafood, basically.
I'm not a fan of oysters, and I've tried them. I work next door to somebody where they shuck fresh oysters every single day, and I want to enjoy them, but I just can't. So I can't imagine an oyster-infused gin is going to be up my street.
I love oysters. I'm a big fan of oysters, especially the whole experience of eating oysters as well is really nice. So yeah, I am quite excited, but it's just not something I would have expected from a gin, basically.
Maybe the heather or gorse infused ones.
Yeah,
might be more
heather.
up your
I
street,
get that.
Richard.
I like gin, but I think an over-infused gin is unnecessary. Like, you get some very heavy, like, basically smells like perfume.
This raises the age-old question. If you're going to have, like, a different flavour than just, a standard, like, Beefeater gin with, like, a Schweppes tonic, right? What are you doing? Are you infusing the flavour profile and different flavour into the gin?
I go the tonic way. I like to infuse into the tonic, so I have the ginny hit. I'm a big fan of a saffron tonic. If that's saffron tonic is quite
saffron.
It's quite nice.
What's a saffron tonic?
I reckon it's one with saffron in. I think you can overcomplicate gin, so I go with a standard tonic and maybe try something a little bit more varied. Otherwise, I had a gin and tonic once in some fancy cocktail bar, and it was like it just went a bit heavy with the garnish. They were like, "Oh yeah, so what's that?" And they're like, "That's pink peppercorns and rose petals." I was like, "Can I have a sieve?"
I'll tell you what I really enjoy with the gin is my sister every year when it's elderflower season, she goes and picks and she makes her own elderflower cordial, and it is hands down the best elderflower based syrup or anything that I've ever had in my life. And I get one bottle a year, which is really, really annoying because that's all so I get one 70cl bottle of elderflower that I can mix with cocktails, and that goes phenomenally with gin. But unfortunately, you guys will never ever get to try it because it's mine.
Brewing foray.
And I only get a bottle a year, so
it's fun. I might just text your sister and see if I can get my own. Like maybe I get a 20 centilitre version. Don't get the full 70.
A miniature.
Yeah.
So like, Hannah, just to annoy Rich, I would be super miffed
if one day you just drinking a gin and tonic. What you got there? She'd be like, well, I've got some special elderflower. I'd be annoyed because it's my elderflower.
So, on Instagram, the Isle of Bute distillery has 4,770 followers.
Ooh.
So definitely, I think if you find yourself on the Isle of Bute, I think we've established, outside of a very famous name mistake and pretending that you are in Scottish version of Jurassic Park, you need to make a beeline to the Isle of Bute. This is distillery. This is basically the where you need to go to. It's very cool. It looks really fun. They've got amazing looking spirits, and of course they've got these tasty beers as well. So I think all hands to the Isle of Bute.
It does sound like it's the only thing to do on the Isle of Bute.
Rich, what are you talking about? They've got those two painted stones on the northern side of the island.
You can see one day and look at the other one.
It kind of reminds me of with Father Ted and Craggy Island. That's what I'm imagining when you go to the Isle of Bute. Just a bunch of exiled priests and two rocks.
I did. To be fair, the only difference with Craggy Island is that it's not like scenery-wise. Craggy Island is very depressing looking, isn't it? And they purposely make it so. Whereas this looks absolutely stunning, views and scenery-wise in the Isle of Bute and across the water and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because the way you were describing it was then putting it in my head that it's like the Iron Islands in Game of Thrones.
And that's all we have time for this week's episode of the I'll Try That podcast. And so from me, Joe, Rich,
Barber, and Simo,
goodbye. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram,
Twitter, I'llTryThatPodcast.com.
And watch us on YouTube.
Goodbye now.